Okay, for this sports ChatGPT AI analysis, we're going to do a battle of the point guards. Now, I don't know if you agree with these ones that I put on this list, but we're going to start with a one-on-one matchup between Bob Cousy and Walt Frazier, and then we're going to move on with the winner facing in order 2-3 through Magic Johnson at the end and see what happens when we match them up. And I know game dynamics are completely different than this. You've got, in a team sport dynamic, you've got assists and all other kind of things that won't come into play on a one-on-one. This is just simply a one-on-one matchup. Do a different one later with AI if we want to. So again, after the first round, it'll be Gary Payton, then Jerry West, then Jason Kidd, then Steve Nash, then Chris Paul, then John Stockton, then Isaiah Thomas, then Steph Curry, Oscar Robertson, and finally Magic Johnson. Let's begin. So here's the prompt. In a one-on-one basketball game up to 50 points between Bob Cousy and Walt Frazier, both in their prime, who would win? And if prime Bob Cousy and Walt Clyde Frazier met one-on-one to 50, I'd give the edge clearly to Frazier. Here's why. Physical tools. Frazier was 6'4", with a stronger, more athletic build than Cousy, 6'1", giving him size and strength advantage that matters a lot in one-to-one. Frazier's long arms, lateral quickness would make it harder for Cousy to get clean looks or drive effectively. So size, I think, is going to definitely come into play, perhaps much more on a one-on-one game, as this is saying, than in a team game. Defensive ability. Frazier was one of the greatest perimeter defenders in NBA history. Quick hands, elite anticipation, and excellent footwork. In one-on-one, that's brutal for smaller guards relying heavily on dribbling. Cousy was creative offensively, but not known for lockdown defense, so Frazier could attack without the same pressure. Offensive game. Frazier had a smooth mid-range jumper, strong post-up skills for a guard, and could finish through contact. He could score effectively in multiple ways. Cousy's strength was in orchestrating an offense with passing flair, but one-on-one there's no cutting teammates to feed, so his scoring creation would be more limited. Era and style of play. Cousy dominated in the 1950s, which was a slower and less athletic compared to Frazier's late 60s, 70s, which had deeper talent and more physicality. You hear that in a lot of the comments that are in basketball YouTube videos talking about the different eras and the athleticism and the physicality and the different eras. Frazier's skill and conditioning were built against tough defense schemes and stronger athletes. Likely outcome, Frazier wins something like 50-35 or 50-38 using his size, defense, and efficient scoring to control the game. Cousy's creativity and competitive fire would get him points, but he'd be working much harder for them. We can break it down on a possession-by-possession style, like a mini-game recap if you feel that you want that. No, I don't want that. So let's do the next round. We're going to put Frazier up against Gary Payton. How about Frazier? And the ChatGPT is smart enough to know who I'm talking about now. It remembers things well. Against Gary Payton. Again, a game up to 50 points. So it's going to remember all the other conditions that I've had it use. Thinking, if a prime Walt Frazier faced a prime Gary the Glove Payton in a one-on-one game to 50, it would be a gritty defensive battle where points would be earned, not given. Matchup analysis, size and physicality. Frazier 6'4", Payton 6'4", Frazier 200, Payton 180, but extremely physical with a stocky build and a mean streak. It really captures their traits. Strong, great balance, smooth athlete. Physically, they're almost identical in height, but Payton might have a small strength edge, while Frazier had a slightly better fluidity and grace. Defense, both are elite. Payton considered one of the greatest perimeter defenders of all time. Relentless pressure, quick hands, and the ability to trash talk opponents into mistakes. Frazier just as effective defensively, but more about positioning, anticipation, forcing through shots rather than constant harassment. In a one-on-one game, Payton's in-your-face style might disrupt rhythm more, but Frazier's patience could counter that. Offensive tools, Frazier mid-range mastery, smooth fadeaway, great at posting up smaller guards. Not an advantage here since of Peyton's size and efficient finishing. Peyton stronger driver, more willing to bully his way to the hoop, streaky outside shooter, but deadly if hot. Both would probably lean on post-ups and mid-range, since neither was a modern three-point volume shooter. Era and conditioning. Frazier played in the 70s, which with physical defense but no illegal defense rules, more one-on-one space. Peyton thrived in a hands-checking 90s against bigger and more athletic guards. Peyton might be slightly more accustomed to extended one-on-one isolation battles. Likely flow of the game. This wouldn't be a shootout, it'd be a grind. Both guys could force multiple shot clock violations if there were. Possessions would be physical, low turnover but with forced tough shots. Predicted score, skip down a little bit here. Peyton 50, Frazier 46. Peyton edges out by a couple of baskets thanks to sheer physical pressure and possibly forcing Frazier into slightly more misses than the reverse. Frazier could absolutely win if the mid-range is hot that day, but in a 1st to 50 slugfest, Peyton's relentless motor gives him the tiniest edge. So really close matchup. Moving on to the next round, now matchup Peyton against Jerry West, again to 50 points. Prime Gary Peyton versus Prime Jerry West to 50 would be a classic offense versus defense showdown. The glove trying to smother the logo. Physical profile, Peyton 6'4", West 6'2", Peyton 180, West 175, lean with a wiry, strong with elite conditioning and bounce for his era. Again, Peyton's built for contact, thrived on physical intimidation. Peyton has a small strength edge, only slightly longer arms. West's edge is his quick first step and constant motion. Jerry West, one of the most efficient mid-range scorers in history. Excellent pull-up jumper off either hand, deadly, coming off the jab step. Could finish through contact despite size. Great at reading defenders. If Peyton gave an inch, West would make him pay. Again, the characteristics of Peyton: scores best attacking the rim or using turnaround jumpers from the block. Streaky perimeter shooter. Defensive, Peyton, one of the greatest perimeter defenders in history, harassed even elite scorers like Jordan, used his hands, hips, and trash talks opponents. Rhythm, West, often underrated defensively, great anticipation, fast hands, top-tier lateral quickness for the 60s and 70s, but physically he'd be at a disadvantage against Peyton's strength over the long game style clash. Peyton's ball pressure could deny West easy rhythm, forcing him to work for every touch. West would counter by moving constantly and creating separation with elite footwork. One-on-one removes West's biggest advantage from the air, off-ball screens, but his shot creation ability was still elite enough to hold up. Likely flow of the game. Early, West comes out hot, hitting quick jumpers before Peyton can body him up. Middle, Peyton settles in, wears West down physically, and scores by backing him down. Late, West's stamina keeps him dangerous. If Peyton's jumper isn't falling, West could steal it. Predicted score, wow, they got West 50, Peyton 44. Peyton is out of there. West scoring craft, quick release, and ability to shoot over tight contests gives him the edge. Peyton wins plenty of possessions through defense and sheer grit, but in a game to 50, West's shot-making consistency outpaced Peyton's offensive output. Wow. I was wondering if that physicality of Gary was going to allow him to win the game, but it did not. Moving on here, next is to Jason Kidd. So here we go. Now matchup Jerry West against Jason Kidd, and again in a game to 50. Prime Jerry West versus Jason Kidd to 50 would be a duel between an elite all-time scorer and an elite all-time floor general who wasn't a natural scorer. So again, this is where obviously the team dynamics against versus the one-on-one dynamics are making a difference, and all in all, that difference matters a lot. Profile: West 6'2", Kidd 6'4", 210 versus 175. Kidd, very strong, excellent rebounder for a guard, one of the fastest end-to-end players in NBA history. Kidd has size and strength, but West is faster in short bursts and has the better pull-up game. Got the offensive weapons of Jerry West. Jason Kidd, incredible passer, but that's useless in one-on-one. Average mid-range game in his prime, but improved three-point shot later in the game, but still not elite. Best weapon is driving and overpowering small guards at the rim. Defense: Kidd, big, strong, and a great defensive rebounder with quick hands in passing lanes, could body West up and contest shots with size. West, strong defender for his era, great anticipation, quick feet, but Kidd's size might allow him to bully him in the paint. Style clash. West is built for one-on-one. Quick, precise, high volume scores. Kidd's strength is help defensively and finishing at the rim, but without elite shooting, he'd have trouble keeping pace offensively. West could live on contested mid-range shots, while Kidd would need to work much harder to score consistently. Likely flow of the game early. West jumps out with mid-range buckets while Kidd tests driving angles. Middle, Kidd starts using his strength to back down West for layups and ones. Late, West's efficiency from outside outweighs Kidd's physical game. Kidd can't trade twos for twos if West is scoring in attempts. Predicted score: Jerry West 50, Jason Kidd 39. So very interesting to see. That's where I think sometimes these conversations online and YouTube comments about the GOAT. I always wonder. There's the team play versus a one-on-one player. Very different. Probably most of the comments people are referring to the team dynamics. The passing, the blocking, the rebounds, the offensive scoring. Very different. I'm just curious about the one-on-one play. I'd have to think about prompts that deal with team play. So West moves on, game to 50 against Steve Nash. Prime Jerry West versus Steve Nash in a game to 50 would be pure offensive artistry, with a clear difference in how they'd get their points. West as a high volume scorer, Nash as a surgical playmaker who would have to shift into shoot first mode. Matchup physical: West 6'2", Nash 6'3", West 175, Nash 180. Exceptional balance and agility, but was strong or vertical explosive. West has a slight strength and burst advantage. Nash has superior change of direction skills. Looked at West a lot already. Nash, tremendous shooter. Career 49% field goals, 43% three-pointers, but rarely looked to score in volume in real games. Crafty finishes around the rim. Incredible hesitation moves. Could catch fire from three if given space. Defense, Nash, not a great defender. Historically, more about positioning and the effort than physical disruption. And it reminds me of how a coach in a team are bringing in different players depending on who they start with. Who's some of their star players, and then how do you complement them with a rebounder? Or do you need a center? Do you need that point guard? Do you need that power forward? You know where your strengths are and your weaknesses are, and that team dynamic, is why some of these players excelled, because they had teammates that balanced out the other aspects that were needed for the team to get to winning. Style clash. West thrives one-on-one. Everything about his game was tailored to creating his own shots under pressure. Nash's genius was in orchestrating offense for others. In one-on-one, he'd have to adopt an entirely different mindset. Nash could win if his outside shot was scorching hot, but West's physicality might make it difficult to score over points. I'm just going to shoot down here predicted score. Jerry West, again, 50. Nash, 41. Nash's shooting keeps it competitive, but West's ability to score in more ways, especially against weaker defense, gives him a clear advantage. So again, it's interesting to see the one-on-one aspects. So West moves on, and it's all about the one-on-one game against Chris Paul to 50. Prime Jerry West versus prime Chris Paul to 50 would be a battle of two hyper-competitive clutch guards, both efficient scorers, both elite mid-range assassins, but with different physical tools. West 6'2", Paul 6'0", both 175. Paul extremely strong for his size, low center of gravity, excellent balance. Paul is shorter but sturdier. West has the reach and height advantage, which matters for shot making over a contest. Chris Paul, deadly mid-range shooter, off the pick and roll, though no screens here. Excellent change of pace dribble to create separation, stronger finish for his height, and can draw fouls with craft. You got the defense. Paul, elite on-ball defender for a smaller guard, quick hands, low stance makes difficult, drives difficult, could be overpowered in the post by bigger guards, which West would likely exploit. Style clash. Paul's best defense normally comes from manipulating defenses with passing In one-on-one, he'd have to rely purely on shot creation. West can shoot over Paul more easily than Paul can shoot over him. Paul would keep it competitive with his defensive pressure and ability to hit tough pull-ups. Likely flow of the game early. Paul disrupts West's rhythm and aggressive ball with aggressive ball pressure. Both hit mid-range jumpers. In the middle of the game, West starts using his height advantage to post up Paul and get cleaner looks. Late, Paul stays close with crafty drives and drawing fouls, but West shooting consistently pushes him ahead. Again, looks like West takes it 50-43. West just keeps going and going, matching up now with John Stockton to 50. Prime Jerry West versus Prime John Stockton in a one-on-one would be a clash between one of history's most complete scorers and the NBA's all-time assist leader, who made his name more with playmaking and defense than pure bucket getting. So, very different aspects that they brought to the game. West 6'2", Stockton 6'1", both 175. They're nearly identical physically, but West's longer arms and better vertical pop-ups give him the slight edge. It's going to be hard to imagine anything other than West pulling this out again. Stockton, smart, selective scorer, great at hitting open jumpers and attacking when defenders relax. Good mid-range pull-up and could finish with either hand, but not as dynamic in self-creation as West. Scoring was never his primary weapon. He was a distributor first. Stockton, one of the best defensive guards ever at using leverage, hands, and anticipation. Tough, physical, and relentless, would make West work for every bucket. You got the style clash. West could simply outscore Stockton over time, especially given Stockton wasn't a volume shooter. You got the likely flow of the game, but again, we're here at it was predictable at the beginning. West 50, Stockton 38. So again, I'm just repeating myself on, the team dynamic of a sport, and what they brought to a game. I guess it starts to make you think who's the most complete player, as an interesting matchup, because here with guards, they just have very different aspects that they brought to the game, which worked depending on who else was on the team, but not all complete players. And here we go, getting near the end here. Let's match up West against Isaiah Thomas to 50. Prime West versus Prime Thomas one-on-one would be a duel between fiercely competitive clutch players, but with different physical tools and offensive tendencies. Isaiah 6'1", 180 with a quick, shifty, strong for his height with elite burst. Isaiah has a quicker first step. West has the height and reach advantage. Isaiah, lightning fast crossover and first step, excellent finisher against size. Streaky but capable mid-range shooter, loves to attack the basket, thrives in chaos, but one-on-one there's no help to defense to exploit. Isaiah, quick hands and feet, able to disrupt dribbling rhythm, can be overpowered in the post-up by bigger hands. Style clash. Isaiah's best path to winning is using his speed to blow by West repeatedly for layups and floaters. West's path is controlling tempo, posting up, and making Isaiah work for every bucket with contested jumpers. Over the long game to 50, West's efficiency probably outlasts Isaiah's burst-driven style. Likely flow of the game, Isaiah jumps out by attacking the rim before West can set up defensively. Middle of the game, West adjusts, forces Isaiah into more contested mid-range shots, and starts exploiting his post-up game. Isaiah's speed still gets him some buckets, but West's consistent shot making and size advantage wears him down. Final score, West 50, Isaiah 45. So, these last one-on-one games, Isaiah put up some better numbers. All right, just three more here. Now match up West against Steph Curry to 50. Prime West versus Prime Curry in a one-on-one would be a matchup of two of the greatest shooters ever, but with very different styles. West was a mid-range assassin, and Curry as the deep-range sniper. Matchup: West 6'2", Curry 6'3", West 175, Curry 185. Extremely agile, lightning quick release, elite conditioning. Curry is slightly taller and heavier, but West has more strength and more punishing physical style. Steph Curry, greatest three-point shooter in history, says ChatGPT, with range that forces defenders far outside. Lightning quick handle, elite finishing package for a shooter, can create space with step backs and crossovers better than almost anyone. Curry, in defense, solid positional defender in team settings, but one-on-one lacks the length and strength to bother West's post-up game. Would have to rely on quick hands and anticipation. West defensively, physical defender who uses length to contest, would try to body Curry and make him work for every look. Style clash. Curry's deep shooting forces West to guard him much further out, which creates driving lanes. West can post up Curry and score at will inside 15, but Curry's ability to score in bunches from the three means West can never relax. In a game to 50, with all shots worth 1 point, Curry's advantage in three isn't amplified, but the pacing still helps him get clean looks. See, now this is interesting. You know, here's the first point of all these prompts where the rules were defaulted to one-to-one, and there's no 3-point scoring that they're assuming in this game. So they got, without that 3-point scurry, the 3-point shots, they got West at 50 and Curry at 47. Curry's explosiveness from deep makes West's toughest matchup yet. They're remembering everything. He can erase leads in a few possessions. West edges it only by dominating inside and making Curry work defensively for the 50. If threes were more than one in this format, Curry likely flips the script. You know, and so I'm just going to throw threes in here because I think that should be part of the one-on-one game. Please redo this matchup and allow 3-pointers. All right, with 3-pointers worth 2 points instead of everything being worth 1, the Jerry West versus so they're doing 2 points for the 3-pointer. Curry's biggest weapon now gives him a mathematical leverage that can end runs quickly. Updated matchup. You know, Curry opens up with multiple deep threes, jumping to a quick lead. West answers inside, but is already playing from behind. West slows the pace and works to post to cut into the lead, but Curry hits back-to-back threes and reopens the gap. West's late in the game, West's steadiness keeps it within reach, but Curry's ability to hit 2-pointers from three in big moments is the difference. Curry 50, West 44. So, you know, that's just on the fly here how I thought this game should go. Wasn't a desire to put Curry over West, but, you know, I mean, I don't see why you shouldn't get more points for those outside shots, just like you would in the team dynamics. But, hey, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. And, you know, and as this goes on, we only got 2 more left. I may take back and remove the 3-pointers and you know, and see what happens there. But under the same rules, now we'll do second to the last, Curry versus Oscar Robertson, same rules. With 3-pointers worth 2 again, Steph Curry versus prime Oscar Robertson to 50 is a duel between the most dangerous shooter in history and one of the most complete all-around guards ever, Oscar Robertson. Robertson, 6'5", 210, big and strong for a guard, could bully smaller opponents in the post with excellent balance and court vision. Oscar has a big strength and size advantage, important for finishing inside and contesting shots, but Curry is far quicker laterally. Curry, the GOAT of 3-point shooting, limitless range, deadly off-the-ball dribble and step backs, elite finishing package with touch off the glass. Oscar, elite mid-range, outstanding at backing down smaller guards, could hit from the deep for his error, but nowhere near Curry's level, very efficient inside 15. Defense, Oscar could use size to contest Curry's jumpers, but might struggle to chase him far out beyond the arc. Style clash, I think we know that. Curry's path, force Oscar to defend in the space, hit multiple threes in quick bursts, and use quickness to avoid post-ups. Oscar's path to victory, dominate inside, make Curry work defensively, slow the pace, and avoid giving him transition threes. Flow of the game early, Oscar uses his size to score ones in the post, while Curry counters with 2-point threes, trading Oscar basket for one of his own, but gaining an edge on the scoreboard. Middle, Curry gets hot from deep, stretching the lead. Oscar keeps attacking the paint, but can't make up ground as fast. Oscar narrows the gap with physical inside play, but Curry hits a double dagger 3 to seal it. Predicted score, Curry 50, Oscar Robertson 46. Oscar might win the field goal percentage battle, but Curry wins by the math. Even if Oscar scores 65% on possessions, Curry's ability to rack up points in fewer forces him ahead. If this were a 1-point basket, Oscar would wear him down and possibly win. but the 2-point threes still tilt toward Steph. I don't know. I'm just gonna redo this match and remove the 2-point threes. I'm going to remove the 2-point threes and go back to all shots worth 1 point. Curry versus Oscar Robertson matchup shifts dramatically in Oscar's favor. Scroll down to the end. Robertson is now 50. Curry's way down at 42. So, yeah, 1 for 1. Each basket, 1 point. Without the threes, Curry's out. So Curry is obviously, as we know, his huge contributions is knocking down those threes. Just different games. Same rules. Robertson versus Magic Johnson, who most consider the GOAT of point guards. We'll see what's going to happen. With all baskets worth 1 point, Prime Robertson versus Prime Magic Johnson to 50 would be a battle between two big guards who could score, rebound, and bully smaller opponents, except here they're the same size and neither can outmuscle each other. Robertson 6'5", Magic 6'9", Robertson 210, Magic 220. Robertson, powerful frame, excellent balance, could finish through contact. Johnson, taller with longer reach, outstanding body control, and exceptional passing vision, though passing is less relevant in one-on-one. Magic has the height and length advantage, but Oscar is stronger pound for pound and a more natural scorer. Offensive weapons, Oscar, elite mid-range and post-up game for a guard, could bully into the paint and finish efficiently. Very tough to force into bad shots. Magic, excellent game for his guard size, creative finisher, deadly in transition. Less of a factor here, not as polished, but a pure jumper shooter as Oscar. Defense, Oscar, strong, disciplined, and can guard post up well. Will make Magic work harder for every basket inside. Magic, size, lets him contest Oscar's shots, but he may struggle with Oscar's quickness on face-ups. Style clash, both players like to operate inside the 15 feet. This could turn into a war of attrition, trading post-ups, fadeaways, and mid-range jumpers. Neither will blow by the other with raw speed, so shot making consistently decides it. Likely flow of the game, early. Oscar starts hot with a few mid-range makes. Magic responds with turnaround hooks in the post. Middle of the game slows to a grind. Oscar uses quick spins to get cleaner looks. Magic leans on height for jumpers, jump shots, and drop steps. Late in the game, Oscar's slight, better, pure scoring touch starts to separate him in the final stretch. Predicted score, Robertson 50, Magic Johnson 46. Magic keeps it close thanks to his size, but Oscar's better scoring efficiency and isolation situations gives him the edge. If assists counted, Magic might dominate, but pure one-on-one, Oscar is more equipped to win. So I think ChatGPT knew Magic's considered the GOAT, but we just don't have the team dynamics, where assists and these other aspects to your game count. So one-on-one, Oscar Robertson, I think the other strongest one in that one-to-one was Jerry West. Matchup, Robertson versus Jerry West to 50. With all baskets worth 1, Prime Robertson, Jerry West would be a duel between two of the most skilled guards in history, but one has a clear size and strength advantage. So scrolling all the way down, I think I knew what it was going to be. Obviously, Oscar Robertson versus Jerry, it has 50 and Jerry West 44. So yeah, one-on-one game with every shot worth 1 point. You got Oscar Robertson at the top. If you throw 3-pointers, counting as 2 points, anything more than 1, obviously Steph Curry's going to win. None of this has to do with the team dynamics. For team play, most consider Magic the GOAT. I got to think about some prompts if I can kind of analyze different aspects of that, but it's going to get very complicated. Something about complete game, and I think that's where we're going. We probably see Magic, but I gotta think about what to ask there. So, for one-on-one though, Oscar Robertson or Steph Curry, depending on whether you count threes. What do you think?